Is there such a thing as Muslim culture?
AlMaghrib Institute presents Q&A with Kamal al-Mekki.
Just like that? I don't know of it. Do you know of Muslim culture?
Muslim culture would be that which is actually embedded from Islamic values. So, for example, Muslim culture is to respect your parents.
Okay.
That's Muslim culture.
But that's
how it manifests.
But is there any culture that says don't respect your parents?
There are some that value it less. Like look at the weight we give to valuing your parents. They're your paradise, they're your hellfire. Like that is Muslim culture.
Okay.
As opposed to a culture where it doesn't really matter. Respecting your parents may not be given that weight.
But it's a question of like then what actions define respect? Or rather manifest that respect?
That is variable.
Okay.
That goes from culture to culture. Yeah.
How do you communicate this to people? Because there is this whole thing where people feel like their culture is Islamic. Well, I'm like, no, that's just your culture.
Yeah.
Like some simple thing. You're wearing a South Asian top, right?
Yes.
And some people will be like, oh, that's a Muslim top, right? And I'll be like, yeah, a lot of Hindus wear that too.
Yeah.
Right? It's not necessarily Islamic, right? It's just that's the outfit of the people.
Yeah. Okay. I was at an event recently. I went to do a nikah, okay, at this wedding. And, I gave the talk and I tried to keep it light and make everyone happy and everything. And then when I left, there was this old man outside who was very angry.
At you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny that he says that I didn't do certain things in the ceremony and he doesn't speak a word of English. Okay. So I asked the translator to ask him, how do you know I didn't do it when you don't understand what I'm saying? Anyways, fast forward a little bit, I got, people spoke to me in sign language and in French, and I was cursed and insulted. I've never had an experience. This was like 2 weeks ago.
This is the same wedding?
Yes, sir. Right outside the wedding. They cursed me using very bad profanity and fingers and everything. And one of the objections they had, they said, in our home country, you announce the mahr to the audience.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And I told them, Islamically, we don't have to do that. The witnesses have to know the mahr. I have to know the mahr.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't want their business out there.
Yeah.
But if that's your culture, by all means, there's nothing that prohibits that. Grab the mic now and announce it.
Yeah.
How could you not announce the mahr? One more time. In Islam, I don't have to. But see, that was an example of people super confused between what is Islam and what is their culture.
Okay.
And these old guys just coming out of nowhere.
Were they coming at you with their anger, saying you did something that's supposed to be part of the religion and you avoided it?
That's what they thought.
Okay.
What they thought their culture was the religion.
Okay.
And there are many countries that are all guilty of that, But so that's an example.
Here's the thing. Especially when, we benefit from being in a multicultural society. Yeah. Which compels you to look outward and to learn. But when I am living in a country where everybody is the same madhab, they practice the same way, you see that as Islam.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, to give an example, in Sudan, everyone's Maliki. Yeah. And I'm from a village, so it's like everyone is uneducated Maliki. Okay? So it's just like they're completely unfamiliar.
Yeah.
And so I walk into the village masjid. It's only one masjid in the entire village. You walk in, and it was after the adhan of Maghrib, before the salah was established. So I walk in, I pray 2 rak'ahs. The adhan was called. I pray 2 rak'ahs as a greeting to the masjid. Malikis general, they dislike prayer between Asr and Maghrib.
Isn't that all 4?
No, it's the Malikis in particular. So between Asr and Maghrib.
Well, you'll find that amongst the Hanafis.
No, meaning that the Malikis are most severe in this. Like even if you're coming in to pray Tahiyyat al-Masjid, you don't pray it between Asr and Maghrib. Okay?
Because the Hanafis will jump on you too.
It was even after the Maghrib adhan is my point. It was even after the Maghrib adhan, so we're good to go.
Okay, until the fard is,
The fard wasn't established and I walked in. But for them, they're like, again, it's uneducated Maliki, so they come in and my grandfather was alive at the time. And so I walk in, I pray 2 rak'ahs and I sit down next to my grandfather. And him and some elderly or stuff like that, and they look at me and he leans in and he says, Ammar, what religion is this?
Oh, wow.
He goes, what religion is this? And I go, it's Islam. Don't worry. But things like that. So some of the most basic things, they just believe this is the deen.
You know a good example of that?
I feel like these are people that probably never left their hometown.
For sure. I mean,
Okay,
forget.
okay.
So you forget the notion of meeting a Hanafi. They've never met a Hanafi in their life.
Yeah.
They've never met a Shafi'i in their life.
There was an Arab imam. He was hired by DC community, became the imam. He said, every time I do something, everyone jumps on me. That's not in the Hanafi madhab.
Oh.
So he said, I went and just got all these Hanafi madhab books and I became an expert in Hanafi madhab. And I found out that nothing from what they said was actually in the madhab. It's stuff they did back home and they thought it was the Hanafi madhab. So it happens all the time.
It's fascinating because even amongst the Ahnaf, you'll find that they differ. Like they have like multiple schools within their own
Of
thing,
course.
and they kind of differ in that regard.